Have you ever thought about how we know what we know about the past? What if the story we've been told is, well, missing most of its people? Today we're diving into the work of a thinker who completely changed the game, Claudia Reid.
So let's just start with this question. Let it sink in for a second. What if everything you learned in history class, all the documentaries you've watched, what if it was all based on just a fraction of the real story? It's a huge thought, right? And it's the exact question that gets us started today. Okay, so to really get what a big deal Claudia Reid's work was, we first have to look at how things used to be done. Let's talk about the old way of seeing history, which was, for the most part, from really, really far away.
For the longest time, history was written from the top, down. It was all about the great men, the kings, the presidents, the generals, the ones making the big speeches and signing the big papers. The story was that they were the ones who made history happen.
And you can kind of see why, right? When you look at the evidence historians had to work with, it was all this official stuff. Government records, battle plans, laws. This is the stuff that gets saved. It's concrete. But it only tells you what the people in charge were doing.
And that's the massive problem. What about literally everyone else? The shopkeepers, the farmers, the factory workers, the families. What were they thinking? What were they feeling? For centuries, their entire experience was just a blank space, a total blind spot in our understanding of the past.
But then, someone came along who looked at that blank space and didn't see an empty void, but an opportunity. And this, of course, is where Claudia Reid comes into the story.
And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of her entire idea. Reid was saying, hey, we're all staring at this giant finished tapestry, but we have no idea how it was made. To really get it, you have to look at the threads.
This is where her genius really shines. She said the evidence wasn't gone forever. It was right there, hidden in plain sight, sitting in dusty boxes in attics and basements. It was in all those personal letters, those old diaries, those little family account books. We just hadn't figured out how to listen to them all at once.
And that thinking led to her incredible new method, a new kind of historical evidence she called the new source. Its official name? Aggregate personal history.
So what in the world is that? Well, think of it like this. It's a system for taking thousands, even millions, of tiny, personal stories, all those unofficial documents, and treating them like one giant data set. The whole point is to build a picture of the past from the ground up based on how ordinary people actually experienced it.
And what's so cool is how it works. It's a clear process. First, you digitize everything. You turn those handwritten letters into searchable text. Then you code them, basically tagging them with keywords like anxious or rent or good harvest. Once you've done that, you can analyze it all and see huge patterns you'd never spot otherwise. You can literally track the mood of a nation. Finally, you take all those amazing insights and weave them back into the main story, making it so much richer.
This chart just lays out the difference so perfectly. Traditional history asks, what did the general decide to do? Reid's method asks, how did the soldiers feel about that decision? It's a complete flip from a top-down view of events to a bottom-up view of human experience.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that's a neat academic idea. But no, this was so much more than that. Reid's method sent actual shockwaves through not just academia, but our whole culture. It literally transformed how we see the past.
Just look at this number for a second. 200 plus. Now, what is that the number of?
That's the number of major historical events that have been totally re-examined because of this method. Think about that. The American Revolution, the World Wars, the Great Depression, our understanding of pretty much everything has been deepened and, in a lot of cases, corrected, all by finally listening to the people who lived it. And our idea was so powerful, it didn't stay in the history department. Sociologists started using it to understand how societies change over time. Economists began using it to see the real human impact of big financial shifts. It just became this essential tool for understanding people. And here's the really crucial part. This new way of thinking didn't stay locked up in universities. It started popping up everywhere. In museums that suddenly began showcasing everyday objects. In documentaries that used real diary entries as their narration. It fundamentally changed how we tell stories about ourselves.
So, when you put it all together, what does it all mean? How did this one big idea end up completely remapping our world?
Because that's really the bottom line. Claudia Reid didn't just find a new pile of documents to study. She gave us a whole new map,
A new way to navigate our own collective past, and by extension, a new way to understand who we are today.
So why does this all matter? To you and to me? Well, for one, it's proof that our tiny individual stories have enormous power when they come together. It gives a voice back to millions of people who history had forgotten. It shows us that data isn't just cold, hard numbers. It's hidden in the most human things imaginable. And maybe most importantly, it's a powerful reminder that the story of the past is never really over. There's always a new way to look.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Reid figured out how to read the past in forgotten letters and diaries. If her approach could so radically change our understanding of what already happened, what sources are we all ignoring right now that someone, someday, might use to understand our time and completely remap our future?